Hello everybody, and thank you for taking the time to listen to me this morning. Thank you, Claire, for what was an extremely informative session there. I want to talk to you about something. I'm going to take things from a slightly different angle. I'm going to go right back to the beginning, as it were. Everything that Claire said is so valuable and so important, but what I'm going to do is talk to you about some of the foundations and more of the basics. And the place where I'm going to start is, why would you want to be an accountant anyway? And I'm always going to start with my favourite, which is money, because of earnings potential, as well as massive job satisfaction that you will get. Earnings potential is great. And what I would urge you to do in this month's PQ magazine is an earning salary. AAT also has a salary survey, which will show you that students, AAT students, affiliate students, can start off an earnings potential around £26,000 to £27,000 a year, which is a good salary for a student education. The other thing I would say is you can work in any industry. Now that kind of portability across industries can make a really big difference, because historically people think, oh, I'm going to be an accountant, I'm going to work in practice, I might end up sitting in a back room counting beans somewhere, but actually there's a massive wealth of industries and types of jobs you can do within the accounting sector. Working globally, Claire has alluded to that all the way through her presentation. AAT are also a global body, so the kind of roles and the kind of jobs and the kind of places you can go to, I would have to say accountancy is probably one of the top, apart from being an air hostess, maybe, is one of the places that can take you as far as you want to go. The other thing, and the thing that I want to talk about to you guys today, is that you don't have to go to university. There is no doubt that university is a great route to take, but there are other options if you want to become an accountant. And you will be more than just a bean counter. You will be that person that people go to when they want to know information. You will be responsible for, in some cases, providing information to the rest of the organisation. You will be at the forefront of business change. You will be the person that understands the regulations, everything that's going on within your business. So you will be the person. So probably shouldn't say this in this way, but generally, when it comes to looking at restructures of companies, accountants are the people that are there for the longest, because they are the people that are needed the most. And you will really know the business that you are in. People will come to you. You will have the grassroots knowledge of the business. You will understand everything, from the profit and loss, from the forecasting to where you're going, to products, to everything. So as well as having your profession, you really will be well-rounded in understanding business. And that is why many accountants do sit on boards of organisations, because they do have the knowledge that your business needs in order to get there. About AAT. So AAT are the Association of Accounting Technicians, and so what we do is we develop a range of accounting qualifications from level 2 to level 4. We also have commercial courses, CPD and short qualifications. We're Ofqual regulated, which means that all of our qualifications are subject to very thorough and rigorous checks, so you know that they are rigorous, they are robust and they are relevant. We are a professional body. We've got 42,000 members and we have 92,000 students and affiliates. We are also something called an endpoint assessment organisation, and I will come on to talk about this a bit in a moment. But basically what that means is that we are very heavily ensconced within the apprenticeship space. Apprenticeships where accountants are concerned has been a bit of a game changer over the last few years. It's really made accounting and your route and your pathway into the progression are much more readily available. The other good thing about us is, because we work at levels from 2 to 4, we act as either a standalone qualification to become a qualified and regulated accounting technician, or you can go on to level 7, which is the pathway for places like ACCA, CIMA, ICAW, and as well as ICAS and degree apprenticeships. So why would you choose to study AAT? Well, having a membership will demonstrate your professional excellence, and what that actually means for any organisation that you choose to work with is that they understand that you are up to date with all of the regulatory and compliance issues that you will need to know. So we are established and respected. We have been around since 1980. Not quite as long as ACCA, I grant you, but we've been around for a long time, and within our space and within our level, we are well respected. And what that means for us is that we can provide you with all of those practical, real life work skills. So that means that generally where you are taking the qualification, if you're able to, you'll be working while you do, which means you're applying all of the knowledge that we teach you. We currently award around 80% of all vocational qualifications in the country, so that will give you an idea of just the range and the breadth that AAT has. And also the best thing is these qualifications are open to anyone. So as I've said, they do start at level 2. You can move from level 2 to level 3 or to level 4. So really, depending on where you are, it will depend on where you choose to start. So the thing I want to talk to you most about today are the apprenticeship standards. So apprenticeships have changed in England over the last few years quite dramatically. So we have what are called new employer standards, and basically it's a framework of learning that is designed by employers for employers. So we are involved in currently at the moment 2 levels. That is level 3, which is an assistant accountant, and level 4, which is a professional accounting tax technician. So there are 3 stages to how a new apprenticeship works. One, you have to have some on-programme learning, and that on-programme learning must last for a period of a year. Now what that does is that means that you have built up significant skills, knowledge and behaviour to be able to take something called the endpoint assessment. Before you do that, you must go through something called a gateway, which means an employer and a training provider will look at all of the learning you've done over a year, including the AAT qualification, and say that you are ready to take this endpoint assessment. When you've successfully completed that endpoint assessment, what that says to an employer is that you are competent, and you are competent and able to work within that industry as an assistant accountant or a professional accounting tax technician. The great thing about apprenticeships is now you will, as well as getting the apprenticeship certificate, if you take the AAT qualification, you will also get that qualification certificate as well. So I think, as I just said, the on-programme learning will help you to develop those knowledge, skills and behaviours that will help you to become a well-rounded accounting professional. So all of the knowledge elements are set within the technical element, which is the qualification, the AAT qualification. And then you've got the skills and behaviours, and I'll talk about those again in a minute. But most of those are developed through workplace learning, and a lot of what Claire has already alluded to, I'm kind of doing on a kind of a more basic level. Her understanding about how skills and behaviours really underpin what you will do and how you can utilise and use that knowledge that you learn through the qualification. So the skills and behaviours will be tracked through something called a portfolio, which means you would gather during your on-programme learning, you'd be at work and you would gather lots of evidence through a portfolio, you would bring it all together, and then that would evidence the kind of skills and behaviours that you would need. And so all of that progression as well with the knowledge will be tracked through unit assessments of the accounting qualification. So within the accounting qualification, just to give you an idea, the level 3, the assistant accountant, you would take the advanced diploma, and that has, in terms of its units, advanced bookkeeping, accounts preparation, as you can see, indirect tax, management accounting, ethics and spreadsheets. And what the qualification is designed to do is to give you a broad approach so that you have a base level to be able to then move into any areas that you would wish. At level 4, you can see you have financial statements of limited companies, management accounting, budgeting, management accounting, decision and control, accounting systems and controls, and then you can do optional units, personal tax, business tax. There are optional units that you can change, that you can use, which means that you can start to then specialise. So you can stay at that level if you wish. You can stay at level 4. You can do your accounting apprenticeship. You can get the qualification. You can get the apprenticeship, and you can also register to become a full member of AAT, which means that you have your letters after your name at level 4. So the portfolio is as important, I would say, as gaining the qualification. Those skills and behaviours that you will gain through completing an apprenticeship are going to be the things that will progress your career forward. It will never just be a qualification. The qualification on its own does not make you the best employee. What makes you the best employee are those skills and those behaviours. So things like analysis, being able to understand what you've done and why you've done it. Communication being one of the key things. Accountants used to be very perhaps considered that they would be maybe the person in the corner or the person in the back room. More often than not now, if you've got your figures, you're the person that's going to have to present them to the board or to the management committee. You're going to be the person that's going to have to explain what is happening and why it's happening. All of the planning and prioritisation, I think, goes without saying, and I think that they are not just skills for accountants, they are possibly skills for life. Understanding teamwork and collaboration, again, a really big skill in being able to talk amongst your own organisation, but also being able to work with external stakeholders, which more often than not you will have to do. The behaviours, adaptability, flexibility, all of those things, being able to change and being able to work with circumstances that are beyond your control will always be important, especially the higher up you become. Ethics and integrity. Ethics is a really big part of any job you do, but especially in accountancy. It's not just a should have, it's an absolute must have. Understanding ethics and understanding your own integrity will always be important to what you do. So I won't go into too much detail with the endpoint assessment, but realistically what you have to do in order to pass an apprenticeship, you would do the qualification. The last unit of our qualification is a Synoptic Test, and a Synoptic Test, all that means is it's a holistic test to look at all of those things that you have studied during your own programme learning. And then you would then submit your portfolio and you would have a professional discussion alongside to talk about that portfolio and how all of the things that you have learnt during your on-programme learning, you're able to evidence them through a set of specific questions. That might sound quite scary, but actually it's the best way to be able to pass a test, because if you've got somebody sat in front of you asking you test questions, they're really able to draw out your best bits, and you're able to have your portfolio there, so you'll always be able to, it's almost like a showcase of this is what I've done and this is how I've done it. Okay, so student membership for the AAT. You can see once you're registered as a student, we give you a whole range of learning resources that will really help you move forward in your studies, from sample assessments, e-learning modules. We've got some great careers pages, careers tips from very specific employers of all levels. So we've got people right through to the top board level, right through to smaller people, members in practice, that have decided that that's the kind of accountant that they want to be. Because frankly, not everybody does want to be on the board. Not everybody wants that kind of life, but there are options on both sides. We've got access to all of your assessments and your results, and we've got one of the good things that we've got at AAT are independent student forums. So don't just take my word for it. You can go onto Facebook, you can read what they say. We have lots of social media platforms and lots of ways that you can interact with peers and talk to people, as well as our website, which is massive but worth looking at. The other thing is we always have telephone support available, and we always have email support available. So part of student membership, with lots of bodies, you'll always get lots of different benefits and lots of different discounts. With us, we have car insurance, all of the things you can see there. Lots of different things that we hope are relative to a wide audience and a wide age group. So have a look, as I said, I think I just spoke earlier about social media. Go and have a look at some of the platforms. Go and have a look at what some people say about us, about their experience of studying, and make your own mind up. just some examples there. Also, there are some. It's always good to look when people have got specific assessment queries, especially on the independent forums, because we provide lots of different learning resources, but sometimes there is nothing better than peer-to-peer in terms to understand how you need to respond to something and the information that you need. So just the last couple of slides. Progression can be really important. AAT will give you that foundation, whether you start at level 2, whether you start at level 3, or whether you start at level 4. You can become a qualified bookkeeper, which for some people is a really great, it can be a lifestyle choice, it can be a career choice. You can become, once you get to level 4, once you've finished all of your exams and you've got all of your competences and your work experience, you can become an MAAT member. You can have the bookkeeping qualification if you're going up to level 4 or to level 3. If you want to, you can also have that separate designation as a qualified bookkeeper. And of course, you can go on to level 7 apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships, and should you wish, you can also use our qualification as the base for missing out the first bit of ACCA. So the first papers of ACCA, if you've done our qualification, you will become exempt from them. So the last slide, and to me this is the most important thing, and I think Claire alluded to this. Whatever qualification you choose to do, it will be these other skills that really set you apart from everybody else. So if you look at things like the analytical thinking, all of those skills, the know-how, the ability to help, all of those things, have a look at this. It's a very basic slide, but these are all of the things that will really make you and change you into the professional that you probably want to become. And so I'll leave it there. I will be around for a short time. If anybody's got any burning questions, and I'm sure Graham will be able to find a way to let people get in touch with me or with AAT, because we're always happy to talk to you.